a live look at how I lean and turn on those lights, and I totally forgot to do that before hitting record. So, good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Today we got some juicy insider updates on the many GameCube games that have been rumored for Nintendo Switch and have not yet come to fruition. We've got 3 different updates on them and how likely they are to appear on Switch soon, plus some good review scores of some really surprising, strong new Switch titles this week. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Hope you're all doing fantastic out there. Hit that like button if you enjoy these videos, and never forget that you are always one click away from a Lexar Play Card being the best decision you made this month. The Lexar Play Card is the best way to store all your Nintendo Switch games, keep them safe, secure, and in a speedy fashion with improved read and write speeds. This is my favorite memory card, the best memory card. Every time you click the link in the description down below, you can grab one at a great price, and it helps support the channel. Love Lexar, love the Play Card. Now let's play the rest of the episode. Starting off with review scores for SteamWorld Heist 2, and thank goodness you're here. Now, thank goodness you're here is the big surprise, coming in with a 90 on Metacritic. They're saying this game is genuinely so funny, and I have to check it out. Very few games are genuinely that funny. Like, not to be harsh to writers of video games, but making you actually laugh. Comedy is something that's often hard to achieve in games. Many times it comes across as cringe more than genuinely funny, but for a short 2-hour game, thank goodness you're here, is very weird, very British, and seems to be very funny, a great good time, and I'm gonna have to check it out. It's on Switch. For some reason, the Switch Metacritic is 9 points below the average Metacritic for PC. I don't really understand that. Maybe it comes down to a performance thing. Maybe Switch players don't get the humor. I'm not so sure. But great reviews, surprising kind of out of nowhere reviews for a smaller title that is starting August off strong. SteamWorld Heist 2 is something I've been looking forward to for months now. I have the game in my possession. I've started it. I'm already very impressed. I'll be making a video on it soon. But this comes out August 8th and has a Metacritic score of 80 on PC and 83 on Switch. It sounds like people are feeling that the gameplay is phenomenal and that the game itself is an improved version of SteamWorld Heist 1. I just feel like people don't necessarily love SteamWorld Heist as much as they love SteamWorld Dig, or maybe even SteamWorld Quest. I think that one has really kind of risen in the ranks. It's my personal favorite. And so maybe that is something about the kind of lower scores. I mean, it's still getting great reviews, and I think it'll end up in the mid-8s, which is nothing to scoff at. But people had these reviews have nothing bad to say, and yet they're 85. SteamWorld Heist 2 is in a way the game I've been wanting Thunderful to make since they released the first game in 2015. SteamWorld Heist 2 builds on the solid foundations of the original to create a remarkable tactile adventure. Even without the novelty factor of the first game, SteamWorld Heist 2 is a competent and very funny turn-based strategy game that will appeal both to newcomers and veterans alike. Like the original SteamWorld Heist, only more so. This is an eminently playable game, fun, well-paced, and finely tuned. And yet, those reviews are 8s. I mean, to me, that sounds like a 9, so I'm not so sure where they're docking points, but I will let you know my personal impressions with some gameplay. I think it looks exquisite, and I've always loved SteamWorld, so it's so good to have a true SteamWorld back. No offense to SteamWorld Build, but I don't feel like SteamWorld Build was as much of a SteamWorld game as the rest. SteamWorld Build felt like a different game, but skinned with SteamWorld, and I don't know, these more 2D ones feel like they have the true core of what makes SteamWorld, Heist, Dig, Quest. Those are my favorites. Anyways, I'll give you guys more details on that. Those are the review scores of the week. 2 good games, and then World of Goo 2 is out tomorrow. Not heard a single thing about that. I don't even know the price. There's no pre-order page up on Switch as far as I'm aware. We'll just have to download it and see. I loved World of Goo 1. The Tomorrow Corporation makes really interesting games. That's like a game that's in a set time in my head. You have games that you associate with a set time. World of Goo on Wii is such a time in my head. I can be in that space and time, and it's World of Goo with my Wii. Anyways, let's talk about these GameCube games coming to Switch, because for a long time, so many GameCube games were due back on Switch. How many of you remember the rumors about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess coming to Switch? All y'all hands should be up, because over the last 4 or 5 years, everybody's heard at least one rumor about Wind Waker or Twilight Princess or both. You've also probably heard rumors about Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Maybe you've heard rumors about F-Zero GX, and we've got updates on all 3 from Nate the Hate, who has not shared very much lately. I've talked a lot about how the Nintendo leaker community has been silenced. They got squashed if you're the bird. He was just eliminated. Piero deleted his whole account and is gone. Some people have tried to creep up in his stead, but for the most part, Nintendo leaks have remained pretty locked down. The last Direct was a huge surprise, thank goodness. Very fun, beautiful time. Nate the Hate, though, is coming in with some interesting info, and it's very, like, hint-esque, right? It's not very specific. It's, like, super hinty and rumory, which I think is the way forward for a lot of these leakers in order to protect themselves and protect, I guess, their sources. It's going to have to be more like, oh, this could happen, something in this general vein could happen, as opposed to like, dude, they're making Mario Wonder and these are the playable characters and the art style is new and you can turn into an elephant. That's too specific, too risky, and is going to get people caught. But Nate the Hate comments on all those games I mentioned: F-Zero GX, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and he's categorized them into 3 separate sections. Metroid Prime 2 and 3, he says, hold hope. To me, that means that they probably are coming and probably coming soon. Given that Metroid Prime 4 is a 2025 title, Nintendo has time. We always thought that they would release Metroid Prime Remastered shortly before Metroid Prime 4. Turns out that was not the case. It came out like 2 years before, but now they do have Metroid Prime 2 and 3 to help build momentum and lead into launch, and I think Nintendo will probably utilize those in that way. He says, their time has come and gone about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, which has got to be a big bummer for a lot of players. I feel like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess have been some of the most anticipated Switch games, and the most often, like, promised Switch games, the most rumored Switch games that people talk about, saying like, oh, these have to be coming now. It's been forever. It's been forever. According to Nate the Hate, it's going to continue being forever. There is like a caveat to this that I want to bring up after we address the third category, which is keep the faith F-Zero GX. And both he and his co-host agree that really should keep the faith with F-Zero GX because Nintendo has aggressively kept updating F-Zero 99, and it seems clear that that franchise is of some importance to Nintendo, and maybe F-Zero GX is coming soon. It seemed like 2024 would be the perfect year to sort of launch these GameCube games as a holdover as we wait for the next system, but Nintendo instead opted to go for a bunch of new, awesome, surprising releases. So when would these games come out? Where would they be? And what shape would they take? How would they release and in what structure? Because we also have to remember the recent talk of GameCube controllers being part of a shipment, parts for GameCube controllers, and this idea that maybe GameCube is going to be a Switch Online piece for the next Nintendo Switch home system. Could these games appear there? Will they be separate releases? If I am to interpret Nate Drake, I think he's saying hold hope, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, like those are probably coming without an NSO update. Those are probably coming to Nintendo Switch in a very similar fashion to how Metroid Prime Remastered came, with a digital download on the eShop and then maybe a bundle, like a physical bundle a la Pikmin 1+2 a few months down the line. Keep the faith with F-Zero GX sort of seems similar, except I don't know that Nate Drake knows for sure that this is coming out. I feel like Metroid Prime 2 and 3 he's more confident in, and F-Zero GX, like, keep the faith, something F-Zero is happening, but maybe it's not going to be GX, maybe it's going to be a new game, who knows how that will happen. I wonder if some of these games will release as separate individual things, and then some of them will come to a future GameCube update. There could be a large chunk of time between this and that, meaning, hey, they release Metroid Prime 2 in December of 2024, Metroid Prime 3 in February of 2025 to lead up to Metroid Prime 4, and then, hey, they could put Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on a GameCube Virtual Console, GameCube NSO, years down the line. There's nothing that says this has to launch alongside Switch 2. Maybe there's enough momentum from the launch window games that they don't feel it's necessary, and they could even wait till the second year of the next system. If you give that much of a gap, I don't think it'll be offensive to people to see like, oh, I paid for Metroid Prime 2 and now you're putting GameCube games on the freaking Switch Online service. Bummer. No, I think that's enough space. And we know Nintendo frankly doesn't care a ton about that. They're fine to remake a Wii game into a 3DS game and then remake a 3DS game into a Nintendo Switch game with Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, I guess, like double HD since it was HD before. Is it HD again? Wasn't it HD before? Now it's HD. What's the new thing about this? Nothing. It's HD. I don't know. Nintendo just loves to take these games and repurpose them time and time again, so there's nothing to say that they couldn't put out like Metroid Prime 2 on a GameCube NSO after they release it individually for Switch, and then, oh, save Metroid Prime 3 for a Wii NSO. But, you know, maybe they also just omit those games and they put Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on GameCube NSO, and maybe they're very picky and choosy. I think more than likely, though, we are going to see some of these GameCube games pop up between now and the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm beginning to have this fear, and I'll voice it to you here at the end of the video for those of you that have stayed around for the entire episode. I'm beginning to worry about the Switch 2 not coming Q1 2025, and maybe coming more like Q3 2025. In that case, games like F-Zero GX or Metroid Prime 2 and 3 really could elongate the cycle. And I don't want to see that happen. But the more time that passes and we don't get a Switch 2 announcement, like, it absolutely could come in October, November, something like that. But I just wonder, and when you start to hear people like Nate Drake, Nate the Hate say like, oh, hold out hope for these games, keep the faith for these games, like, are those Switch 2 games? And I guess that's the other part of this, is like, is there that much of a difference between releasing an old Nintendo game for Switch and releasing an old Nintendo game for Switch 2? And then the entirely third option, which is these type of GameCube remasters come to Switch 1 after Switch 2 launches to feed the audience that doesn't have the upgrade to Nintendo Switch 2. And obviously you could still play them on your Switch 2 if you have a Switch 2, but if you don't, this is giving you games that don't require the newest, most expensive system. We'll talk about all that and kind of how Nintendo will structure their releases in a future video, but for now, how do you feel about Hold Hope for Metroid Prime 2 and 3? How do you feel about Keep the Faith for F-Zero? And how do you feel, most importantly, about their time has come and gone for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, seeming like all of those rumors, all of that speculation, maybe at one point these games were in the oven due for release, but they've burnt out and they're no longer suitable for our consumption. Seems like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess will be skipping out on this era of Switch. Could they come back again next generation? Quite possibly, but for now, let me know your take in the comments down below, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.